Good morning. Welcome to another Stretch with Dave. I, of course, am Dave. Today, we're going to do a large shoulder focus. We still are going to do other body parts for mobility. I do have a resistance band today. I'm also going to be using this high anchor at some point. It's not completely necessary, but if you can find something similar that you can use, whether it's a doorknob from a kneeling position, whatever, it will really benefit you. So we're just going to start with our over and backs or shoulder dislocates. So starting with the band in front of my body, just below my hip, I'm going to go over all the way behind and all the way in front. And I'm really focusing on my shoulder blades on this motion. Just like last week, if we want to make it more challenging, we can go narrower and use the band stretchiness to make it across. But the more narrow you are, the more challenging it is, and the more you need to rely on that shoulder circumduction to make it through the movement. As I said last week, I really think everybody should own one of these. I think you can get a pack of 3 different resistances off Amazon for like 20 bucks or something. Okay, and then we're going to do our band pull-aparts next. So I really want you to focus on keeping the shoulders back and down for this one. We don't want to elevate our shoulders. I'm just going single side on the band here, just a little bit below shoulder height, at shoulder height. And I'm going to focus on pulling one to the side at the time, and we can alternate if that's tiring for you. We can do 2 and then switch sides. And I'm really focused on using this back muscle here when I pull that apart. Now you can do same side, pulling apart, keeping the chest nice and proud, shoulders back and down. But it is more effective if you are able to do this single side at the time. And you might be wondering, this is hard, this feels like a resistance activity, and it is, but we can't always just have mobility. We need to have a little bit of resistance as well. So I'm going to loop this through that high anchor point here. And we're going to get some mobility in the chest first. So this is just a better door frame stretch. You could be doing the door frame stretch instead. The nice thing about this is I can move all around. I can find where I need to be to feel that best stretch in my chest and in my shoulder. I can increase the intensity as I get more range of motion. So as things loosen up, try to stay on camera here while still getting a good stretch. It'll be easier on the other side. As I loosen up, I can increase that intensity and lean into that stretch more. And I'll switch sides here. That'll be easier to see on this side. So I'm feeling a stretch here, and this side is not super mobile yet today with the stretches that we've done. So I can gradually lean into that, get a little bit more of a stretch in my front. If you work at a desk and you don't do a lot of resistance training with your chest and your shoulders, what's happening throughout the day is your chest is becoming rounded because you work at a desk, but it's also becoming weak because even though you're in this position and those muscles are really short and in a contracted position, they're weak because you're not using them. So you can use your band to do an activation exercise too. So it's on this high anchor point. On a push, I go ipsilateral side. So if I'm pushing with my left, same leg is forward. My left leg is forward. and I just punch through. Now this isn't a lot of resistance, especially for a trained individual. If you do resistance training in any capacity, this won't feel like a lot. But if you're not doing anything, this is a very good way to get started. And you can just leave this band hanging, right? And we'll switch sides here. And really focus on using these chest muscles. And to do that, we don't want our elbow up here, right? If my elbow's up here, I'm going to be using a lot more shoulders. I don't want my elbow tucked in my side. That's going to be a lot more traps. You sort of want to meet in the middle and find that 45-degree angle with your elbow from your body and push from there. All right, and now we're going to stretch out the lats with the band. And what I'm going to do here is I have tension on the band. It is in my left hand. I'm going to just push my hips back and allow that band to pull my arm forward. Usually a higher resistance band works a little bit better for this one. And we'll switch sides. So again, I just have it in my right hand here. I'm keeping my arm straight. There's a lot of tension on this band right now. And I'm just pushing my hips back, allowing the band to stretch out my lats. Now our activation exercise, less so for the lats. We'll do the lats first, and then we'll do our prone Ys. So we're going to use this mat. I'm going to lie face down for the next two exercises. The first one is just our prone lat pull down. So if you ever use the lat pull down machine at the gym, you know I'm just pulling my elbows towards the side. So the goal here is to keep your elbows off the ground the whole time and really squeeze the sides of your body with your elbows when you come down. And then just think of the opposite. I'm squeezing, and then I'm pulling apart my elbows away from my body. Squeezing, pulling apart. I'm actually going to give us a break from the resistance to do just a little stretch. We'll do our cat to cow actually. So we'll go cat to cow is this one. Tuck the chin in, spine to neutral, chin to neutral, arch the spine, tuck the chin in. And I'm doing this, one, because it's a great mobility exercise, but two, if you're not used to the resistance training, especially using some of those muscles like the lats, I want to give you a little bit of a break in between. And we're going to lie on our stomach again. These are our prone Ys. These are for your lower traps. So thumbs are going to point up. And I'm just going to lift from my shoulder blade. So think about getting the elbows off the ground. Always think about those elbows. It's usually a good cue to keep your back engaged. And hopefully the microphone isn't rubbing up against the mat too much here. Okay, and then we're going to push back into our child's pose. This is going to stretch out the lats again, lower back, hips into the heels. And then we're going to keep it a mobility sort of dynamic movement by going into the cobra, pressing the hips into the ground and alternating on your breath. All right, and we'll do 3 more stretches. 1 more is on the ground. We're just going to do our figure 4. So if you're not comfortable doing the figure 4 pose, you can always use your band to wrap through rather than use your hands here. Or you can just cross your legs in a seated position on a chair and slightly lean forward. I will admit this stretch doesn't really fit into the rest of the stretches that we've been doing, other than it's a nice stretch to do, it feels good, and you probably have tight hips, so a good way to alleviate some strain there. And we'll switch sides. So I've crossed my left leg over my right hand goes through the hole, my left hand's on the outside. Sorry I didn't explain that on the first side there. And we'll slowly stand up. We're going to do our forward fold combo, and then we're just going to do an upper trap neck stretch, and we'll be all done. So I'm going to push my hips back, curl my hands in front of my body, and then as I slowly stand up, I'm going to pull back on my left fingers, arms overhead. Hips to the left, lean to the right. Hips to the right, lean to the left. And we're going to do that a total of 4 times, this time pulling back on the right fingers. Same thing. Again, pushing down on the left fingers. And last one, pushing down on those right fingers. We're going to go right ear to right shoulder without elevating the right shoulder. Right hand, just gently push the head towards the right shoulder. Not a lot of force is needed at all. Sometimes none is necessary for you to feel that stretch. And we'll switch sides. So it's left ear to left shoulder, not elevating. Left hand gently tilting the head towards the left shoulder. And we'll just sort of shake it out. I hope you enjoyed that stretch with Dave. As always, if you have questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to leave a comment, an anonymous voice message, carrier pigeon, however you want to get a hold of me, and I will do my best to address that feedback. Just as a reminder, for the month of August, so you have today and tomorrow, you can get 500 thanks to 10 points for attending a group exercise class. Just make sure the instructor gets your PERM number. That has to be an in-person group exercise class. And you can also get 500 thanks to 10 points in the month of September for the same thing. So 500 points for August, 500 points for September. We hope to see you in class. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.